wholly questionable father figures, Batman! Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And we're back with another installment of the animated Batcave. Now, what is the animated Batcave, you ask? Well, long ago, BlueDragonFive swore to me, since I have never seen an episode of Batman, the animated series. He was like, Tiki. That's not right. I'm going to take you through a lesson, man. I'm going to take you through my own BlueDragonFive specialized college course in all things Batman, the animated series. So what's the story, Dragon?
I don't remember quite going down like that, but just to summarize in my own words.
It went down exactly like that. Beat by beat.
Don't believe anything this man says, kids. He's like Lloyd Ventress. Don't believe anything he says. So, you see, folks, long ago I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way.
Yes. And so tonight we'll be covering Season 1, Episode 17, See No Evil. All right. And Blue Dragon... I really like this one, BlueDragonFive. I think this was a nice kind of breather, a refresher from all the craziness going on and the cat and the claw stuff, which was where this series really kind of took a little bit of a bumping point. This, I feel like, is definitely a step in the right direction. It's nice to get sort of this one-off kind of villain. This almost feels like a Twilight Zone kind of episode in a way, because it's just kind of centered around, like the ideas of invisibility and fatherhood, and it really does hit home, and it does have a lot of important messages to share. But I feel like this one definitely hammers home those important messages in a much more poignant and realistic and tasteful way than the Cat and the Claw. Like, I am a woman, Batman. Of course, you're brought down by woman. You know what I mean? Like, these social issues, like, you have a dad who might not be a good person at all. In fact, that dad might be someone you want to stay far away from. It's not an easy lesson to teach a kid, but it is an important one. So I imagine, Dragon, I'm interested to hear your nostalgia for this episode, because it is kind of a heavy hitter emotionally, at least from how I saw it.
Oh yeah. So let me provide a little context as well as a little hint of my views here. So this one, Batman the Animated Series, especially in Season 1. Season 1, I have a lot of basically a lot of my nostalgia for the animated series. My introduction, as you imagine, would be through the first season, and of course, I've always kind of gone about that first VHS tape I had of the first 8 episodes. We've already covered, but the point of Season 1 kind of feels like that. Feels like kind of the history of Batman for me. It feels like the great introductory point. Something that the animated series is famous for in that first season is a lot of really good one-shot episodes, or at least a lot of memorable. Season 1 is very memorable. If it's like, it's memorable. It's like every time we talk about Season 1, Tiki, it feels like going into an old neighborhood, like the neighborhood you grew up in. That's very much what the first season feels to me. Season 2 is like the
some of those neighborhoods are kind of sketchy, and they're run by people like Boss Big, so you're not sure if you're supposed to laugh at or be scared of, but...
It's like how Daredevil feels about Hell's Kitchen. That's kind of how I feel about Batman Season 1.
For sure. So yeah, Dragon, I think this one got a lot of things right tonally. I was really impressed by some of the drama presented in this episode. Some of the, like I said, some of the moral implications of it. I was really, really into it. Yeah, so much more so than either of the Cat and the Claw episodes.
So I did a little bit of research on the rewatch. I enjoyed it quite a great deal, and I found out some really interesting stuff about it. So this was directed by Dan Reba, who really went on to do a lot of great stuff. Essentially, he had a hand in all the DCAU shows, and he kind of got. I didn't know he got a start in Batman. I thought it was like Justice League, but no, he's been there from the beginning.
Nice.
We also have, and this is very important to note, we have writer Martin Pasco. Hopefully I'm saying that right, Pasco. And Dan Reba was kind of famous in the animated series, apparently, for direct. I didn't know he was behind a lot of these one-shot episodes. Again, he was kind of famous for the one-shot episodes, which again I already went into kind of that with the animated series. Pasco,
good thing to be known for.
Certainly. Pasco was a comics writer. He's kind of had a hat in a lot of things. He's written some Superman. So the main thing I want to highlight with Pasco that kind of blew me away rewatching this night, and it makes all the sense in the world. And I feel embarrassed I didn't pick up on the first one. Pasco was one of the four. I want to say it was four writers. One of the four writers who worked on Batman: Mask of the Phantasm. There's a lot of Phantasm in this episode in the rewatch. Seriously, there are some elements that are definitely in Phantasm that you can see kind of the origin point in this episode.
I believe you. I believe you.
And of course, broadly, this episode's kind of a fun, realistic take on the Invisible Man story. Kind of some references, as you'd imagine, to the famous Universal horror film, The Invisible Man.
Can I just point out to the audience, I genuinely want to see Batman Mask of the Phantasm after Dragon's kind of hyped it up so much, like, oh, it's going to be brilliant, it's going to be great. But Dragon, what is your response when I humbly ask for your permission to see Mask of the Phantasm?
To quote Luke Cage, and no, not the I'm Luke Cage, the second one. You ain't ready, Tiki. You ain't ready for Phantasm.
So I just want to put that out there, folks. That's like the, it's kind of like if you're listening to this podcast, it's like an RPG. I'm leveling up from episode to episode.
The boy's not ready yet, but by my approximation, once we get into the middle of season 2, then it'll be ready.
Oh boy. Well, season 1 is like incredibly long from what I can remember.
All right, so let's see. These last two bits, and again, kind of important bits. Of course, it's a very gutsy and different episode. I'm sorry, it is a very gutsy and difficult episode to get away with because you have something that when they're making this episode, one of the basically broadcast standards and practices. Batman Animated Series is really lucky to have Gene McCurdy kind of at the top tier, basically protecting them so they didn't have to suffer through all the censorship that the Marvel shows had been going through at that time with X-Men or with Spider-Man. They still had rules they had to abide by, and that kind of caused them to get creative and come with some really fun solutions to that. But at the same time, you had your small battles, and with this one, you had child endangerment, which was a big thing.
Not only child endangerment, but child endangerment by the hands of the parent, which was something that really struck a chord with me when I was watching this. You know what this reminds me of, Dragon?
What?
Kind of a deep cut Breaking Bad reference, but it kind of reminds me of Peekaboo in some ways.
We do have a great reference to that, if it was not intentional, of course, because it wasn't. Yeah, you're right. I'm saying we have a fun little gag about Peekaboo, so it makes all the sense in the world. You bring up Peekaboo, I'm with you. But yeah, I'm seriously. Child endangerment was something that they've had to skirt around before on the animated series. Like you saw of course, the Underdwellers. The
Underdwellers, yes, my favorite.
Using that one. The other one, let's see, of course, would be a clown with the Joker. They had to write around so Joker didn't abduct the kid. The kid snuck into it. But originally, Joker abducted him. So they had to, they've been battling this sort of story, and it's hard to get away with. And this one, they really did it right, and they got away with it. It's a gutsy move, and I think they told us.
It hits home, and it definitely makes Batman a public crusader in a more intimate light than we've seen him in the animated series thus far, I think.
It's that great thing the animated series hit upon is that Batman's a guy who, like really good cops, he's a guy who, it's like it's a cop or a hero who cares about every case, no matter how small. It's not like Batman. It's like as much as we love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of course, we have the Netflix shows for a reason because the Avengers are dealing with all the big issues. Where we have on the Netflix shows. Luke Cage,
could you imagine Captain America and Tony Stark talking about Diamondback? Like, oh, come on, that guy's a joke.
Yeah, Luke Cage, he's consoling the mothers who have lost the children. That's Luke Cage. He cares about everyone. That's the sort of everyone, no matter how small type deal there. And the last thing I want to highlight, really really important though, is that the animation studio that did this episode worked on Phantasm as well as some of the best episodes of Batman animated series. The Batman animated series sent their animation overseas, and you get various different kind of overseas animation coming back, and you'll notice you could actually track the style and kind of recognize the animation studios. Now you'll recognize this, and I wanted to get the name on it. So Dong Yang is the studio that does some of the best animation for Batman animated series, including again Phantasm. I definitely saw shades of that here.
Yeah, it's very well done in terms of the style, for sure. I'll agree with you there.
Because some animation
this episode really caught me by surprise because it was supposed to be kind of like just an Invisible Man story, which Dragon, growing up with Freakazoid, much like you did, what my point of reference for invisible people are, right?
Yeah, invisible, right?
Where did he go? That invisible. Oh, I can't get that song stuck out of my head.
Cosgrove, why didn't you ever get married? Because I like meat too much. Anyway, no, but good old Ed Asner. Anyway, but yeah, seriously, it's the Don Yang. I gotta get a reference on like what the other studios brought, because again, they all have like their strengths and their weaknesses. But seriously, Don Yang, to my recollection, and especially rewatching this, I was blown away at how beautiful this holds up tremendously well. So talking up enough. Let's jump right into it.
All right, so starting with that style, Dragon, we're going with a very horror movie aesthetic. I love this opening where the
tracking shot.
Right, the fence rattles open. We see the window comes open, and Kimmy is awakened. Little Kimmy is awakened by a light.
Little Kim Wexler. This is the story what happened with her father.
Here we go. I knew we were going to get into this. I was prepared. I did not plan that. It occurred to me in the moment. I swear to God. I just like realized, oh my God. No, okay, no. Here's the thing. This isn't little Kim Wexler, Dragon. This is Kim Wexler's daughter. Okay, and then the woman that we see, her mother is the Kim Wexler that we know and love. This is how much thought I put into this, Dragon, because they're both so similar.
I didn't think about that, but you're right. She does sound a little like Ray Seahorn, the mother, Helen. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Okay. Anyway,
so that's where we are, Dragon. Just in our little head canon here that we've created for ourselves.
Okay. But seriously, getting on points. That's the last of Kim Wexler we'll bring up. Just we love.
Okay, for sure.
So anyway, so we have tracking shot. We leads to Kimmy's room. Then an invisible man enters, and it looks more dazzling than it sounds, folks. An invisible man enters.
No, seriously, that's something I really want to give credit for to the episode, is just coming up with creative ways to show invisibility. Like, my God, they really had their work cut out for them, and props, because I think this is kind of a masterclass in doing something like that.
Something thematically I really appreciate about this episode is that I noticed we have moments in this episode where they really it's so fun. They're laying it on extra thick for a point, for a purpose. They're going for whimsy. They're kind of making fun of whimsy a little bit in this episode, where they're we get to see kind of
it's almost like amblinized a little bit.
In a way, yeah, it's like we're seeing whimsy through Batman's skepticism with this whole it's like, oh, they're no imaginary friends but invisible friends. It's like we can't exactly have we're darkening kind of whimsy in Gotham, which is you think, oh man, ain't that cute? She has an imaginary friend. Where you see kind of the creepiness through that opening. We know. Okay,
I was Dragon. Just let me say, like, as someone watching this for the first time, I was very unnerved by this opening, and I was like, Mojo, like, oh God, what. At first, the first thing that came to mind, Dragon, and I'll try not to bring this up too much, but I kind of guessed the whole daughter reveal. I kind of guessed that this was going to be a Sandman type situation. However, I want to say that this episode basically hits all the story beats that Raimi Sandman wanted to hit in 20 minutes, in a much more powerful way.
I have a fun comparison with that I'm going to get to later, and we'll get there. I'll be the only other time I guess we'll bring up the Sandman of it all. But
again, I don't want to hammer that in like it's the only thing we're going to talk about with this guy. But very Sandman-esque with his motivations. But the cool thing is, he's of course a much darker character than Thomas Hayden Church's dopey Flint Marco is. Yeah,
because to be fair, he murdered someone by accident. I'm not crazy about that fact that. The fact that is actually on record, like, yeah, that's what killed Uncle Ben.
Well, yeah, but that's not Flint's fault. That's the writer's fault.
I know. It's regardless. Again, just staying on point here. The point is, this is a guy who willingly did bad stuff. It's not exactly.
Of course.
He's not as sympathetic as he may view himself. We, the audience, there's something wrong with this guy. And speaking of which, we have a really eerie and memorable performance by Michael Gross as Lloyd Ventress here, as quote unquote Mojo. Yes, and again, by the way, just in case anyone's curious, it was before Powerpuff Girls, so just in case anyone's curious.
I am Mojo Jojo. I will turn myself into an invisible monkey.
Yeah, but seriously, though, you see what I'm talking about the whimsy. It's like we're seeing kind of like what would usually be kind of like a
Dragon, it's Dark Peter Pan.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. It's like, it's kind of the realistic version of whimsy in Batman's world, which is like, there's no magic in this world where it's just like there's an explanation for everything, and it's usually coming from kind of a dark place. And speaking of which, we also have that great music that exemplifies kind of that whimsy. It's like it's kind of that whimsy of the story.
Again with the Amblin, you know what I mean? It's got that
Yeah.
John Williams touch to it.
Yeah, it's almost whimsy meets Nightmare on Elm Street. It almost is. It's like has that kind of that haunting, eerie. It's that haunting, eerie music. It's light, but at the same time kind of ominous, and then it gets really ominous and dramatic as it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
This music's always been great on Batman. Yeah. Let's see. So Mojo promises Kimmy a pearl necklace. Promises her pearls, and has basically the idea is that he's been visiting her on a regular basis, giving her expensive trinkets. Something that kids really don't need, but you're giving her like the old golden necklace. And
and especially something where it's like if kids, if the mother found out about all these trinkets, she could put the pieces together pretty quickly.
Maybe not the whole invisible kind of friend of it all, but yeah, certainly.
Right.
So let's see. So Kimmy tells Mojo, and again, on some level, and this is the interesting thing for me on the episode, is that I love that you kind of see like you see he's not likable, but at the same time you understand him. I love that complexity, is that you understand this guy and you understand what he's going for, and on some fundamental level you kind of you understand what the guy's want is, and you almost root for him, but then you realize, okay, obviously this guy's going about everything the wrong way. You shouldn't morally root for him, but at the same time it's like you understand him at the very least, right?
I mean, yeah, you just kind of laid out a thesis statement about his character, but I would sign off on that. That's all very accurate.
So let's see. So then Kimmy's telling Mojo before he leaves that that she and her mom are moving, and this shocks Mojo. And again, Michael Gross is so eerie and so kind of creepy. It's so awesome.
Yeah, I love how this moment's played, where he just like runs out of the room, and it's almost like a creepy bad exit.
Yeah, because he's shocked. He drops the doll, and as that happens, Helen enters, and she interrupts, asking, Kimberly, who are you talking to? And by the way, she's voiced by Jean Smart, by the way. So,
well, she sounds like a Ray Seahorn type.
She does, and she does. Anyway, so she's asking her daughter who she's talking to, and again, this is the eeriness of it all, because we, the audience, know before.
This is what reminded me of Peter Pan, where she's saying like, "Oh, I'm talking to Mojo. Oh, of course you're talking to Mojo. Isn't that cute?" You know what I mean? And then of course we get the great shot of the outside in the window, very Peter Pan like.
And I love how we mirrored this, and it comes back towards the very end. And that's really, really clever. And of course, very, very, very solid animation and acting on everyone.
For sure.
Mention. Let's see. Of course, she dismisses the friend. She's. There is a message here of like, listen to your kids when they tell you something. That's kind of a good message that they kind of hit home here. Is that, hey, you never know. Listen to the kids. Listen. Again, it's not just probably.
It's Gotham City, folks. You got your apartment at a low rate for a reason. Be careful.
No, it's seriously, it's like kind of a good message to have on a Saturday morning television show of like, hey, if any parents are watching out there, just be observant with your children. Just be observant, because you don't know, there could be stuff you read between the lines, folks.
Right.
Okay, let's see. So we're out of Gotham. Again, this last thing I hit on Mojo is the fact that, again, we know the imaginary friend is actualized, and it's just that eerie note that he leaves as she enters, and it's really kind of again, it's fun to arm us with information that the mother doesn't know. So we're at the Gotham Convention Center, and they have a bit of a jewelry expo going on.
Oh boy.
It's like an indoor bazaar of sorts, jewelry, watches and stuff. So then our man enters with a case. He locks the bathroom to the guards at dismay. Again, the guard is a nervous bladder, I guess.
Right, this guard's really kind of like on his tail. It's like, come on, who locked the bathroom? I don't know, Dragon. Is it just me, or like, do people usually lock one stall bathrooms? I mean, that seems to be the common courtesy.
I didn't see how many stalls were in there. I don't. Was it one or was it?
I don't know. It seems to me like if it was like one stall, it'd be appropriate to lock it.
I mean, that's I don't know. That's fair. I mean, yeah, he might just be like, "Oh, I gotta go. Hurry up."
Fair enough.
I don't know. Oh yes, he guards the Smeg. He dons the suit, which is a really cool looking suit, by the way. He's kind of the
I
plastic.
love
suit
the idea of the suit too, where the
Oh,
idea of the suit is basically that light travels through, travels into the suit, like light absorbs into the suit instead of traveling through the suit. Am I getting that right?
Essentially, it's plastic with filament built into it. So light, basically, instead of absorbing the light, it bends it around the material. So it's like
right, which creates the illusion of invisibility. The translucence.
Which I love, me, Tiki. I love good pseudoscience and comic book stuff.
Oh, I was watching this episode and I was like, oh, I'm sure Dragon took a lot of notes of this when he was a kid.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so let's get to the man of the hour. We got Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's shopping for a watch as Ventress steals it, and basically he's stealing other stuff from tables. Not as subtly as he should, to be completely honest.
Dragon, I just want to say one thing.
Yes.
You do not steal Batman's watch.
No, you don't.
That's just something you just don't do. I mean, come on. That's this guy's main mistake right there.
And there was a deleted scene where there was a deleted scene where a young Temple Fugate was in. We saw Temple Fugate, who becomes the Clock, and we get to see his origin. He had a watch too, and it was taken from him, and he wanted to.
Oh no!
He wanted revenge. He kind of started a pun. It was deleted because it was completely a stupid idea. But the fact that he then
you know what Bruce Wayne was personally that day. He was like, you know what? I'm thinking about hanging up the Batman thing. Like, I'm just gonna go out, Alfred. I'm going to get myself a new watch because I have all this money, and why should I be spending it on all this superhero stuff? I'm gonna look nice. I'm a billionaire playboy. I'm going to start living like one, Alfred. Then he goes, he gets the watch gets taken from him.
That's it.
And the bat just the bat just, it's just part of him. He can't let it go. Anyways, on to the regularly scheduled conversation.
Okay, but seriously, again, I love this sort of stuff, and I love, and the first season hits upon this most out of the whole lot, honestly. But I love that we see Bruce Wayne out of the costume doing stuff. As much as I love Batman,
yeah, for sure.
I'll admit, when I was a kid, I guess I didn't have as much pay. I'm not saying like it was all, with every episode. I'm saying there's some episodes where Batman, but again, look at the Forgotten, the homeless episode. Batman doesn't show up until the third act.
That's true. That's true.
One years later.
Dragged. Yeah.
That's one years later. I appreciate more with like the fact that it's Bruce Wayne over Batman, but as a kid, it's like, oh man, where's Batman? Darn it! So you see here, it's like, again, I'm appreciating this. Is the fact, it's Bruce Wayne doing stuff and also kind of helping Batman out in the daytime when Batman can't come out in a way. But regardless, here it's just Bruce Wayne doing stuff. He's going for his watch, and of course he's just involved in the inciting incidents. Kind of a neat way to kind of get Bruce Wayne involved. A little random, but it's fun.
Right.
So Bruce, and of course, this line always. There are two lines from this episode always stuck.
Oh God! Okay, what is
First
it?
One was Kevin Conroy after the watch is stolen. He says, "What the devil?"
Yep.
That's a simple. The other one comes later. And it's a great line by Michael Gross, and we'll get there.
Okay, fair enough. All
right, let's see. So the point is, again, the watch is stolen. He's noticing, okay, not so subtly, Ventress is stealing all jewelry and watches from all the other tables. And again, he could be a little more subtle with it. It's like, taking when people aren't looking.
You know what? I do love the visual of the jewels going into the invisible bag.
Yeah, it's an invisible man trick. You got to do it. And he's cocky with the suit, so that's why he's doing it. No one can stop him. It's like he views the invisibility as power, so he's being cocky. So, he's the cocky thief.
I'm Power Man. I'm Luke Cage.
Okay. But Bruce Wayne really has to go to the bathroom, so he opens the door. He goes in there. No. But Bruce Wayne hits the bathroom, much to the guards of the Smeg and that poor guard.
Right.
Let's see, and of course, as Ventress is taking the guards' guns, which is kind of a cool bit, by the way. In fact, he's like, they're going for their guns. Wait, it's gone. My piece is missing. And the guards are being knocked around and knocked for a loop. And then, of course, we have a bat entrance, a really cool bat entrance, as he whacks that poor guard when he just hits him with the door. It's like,
yeah, right.
And again, that's a cool bat entrance.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's see. So Ventress, he's fleeing through the construction doors, and I will admit, speaking of the Sandman, second to last time.
Okay.
Sandman, when we were doing that Spider-Man Christmas pitch.
Yes.
When I was thinking of like setting it like at a mall during construction, this is like one of the two scenes I was looking towards for that. So it was this scene. The fact that kind of a construction area of a building going on here.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, actually, they were both Batman scenes. This one and another one in Batman Beyond. So they both came from Batman regardless. Anyway, so they're going through the construction doors. Batman's pursuing, and he sees, kind of the still under construction. You got wet cement, you got paint cans, you got stuff, and you got like a lone construction worker eating a sandwich.
I love how scared the construction worker gets of Batman.
And again,
Batman's just like, I know you're in here.
I know you're in here.
And like, oh God, what did I do, Batman?
He's just looking. Yeah, he's looking so puzzled at Batman. Like, see my lunch, and again, so I want to. You'll notice again, if you ever want to nail down the animation, so you can see it on the model on Batman. Has like the nose droops down a little bit. Again, this is like one of the best models you have of Batman in this episode. He looks great in every frame of this episode.
I think so too. Yeah, I agree.
So again, this sequence is really cool. And this is a great kind of Batman versus an Invisible Man type fight you got going on. So he pursues him, nothing except for the construction. You got the sandwich. And I love the fight here. So he dodges a trowel that's being thrown at him.
Yeah.
The man leaves like, oh God, invisible man throwing trowels. I'm out of here.
Probably for the best.
He takes the sandwich though, so he has his priorities in line. Anyways, we got the invisible fight. He leaves. The man leaves, so the invisible fight can begin.
So we have a lot of cool visual elements here. We have the footsteps in the cement. We have
my favorite gadget, the grappling gun.
Yeah, and then of course he also sets off a smoke bomb.
Mm-hmm.
Cute, real cute Batman.
I'm using the smoke pellets. All right. Mm-hmm. And of course this is great. Again, Batman thinking on his feet here. He's throwing this paint on him, and he thinks, okay, I got him now. Again, logically, Batman's doing what you would do if you were fighting Invisible Man.
Sure.
That character. He's not like doing that foolish thing where, hey, punch. Who am I hitting? He's not doing any of that. He's throwing paint on him, and then Ventress, very cocky, he burns off the wet paint, saying, I guess when it comes to something or other, I'm a burnout.
I thought that line was kind of dumb, but whatever. I'll give it a pass.
No, it's the fact that he's just so overconfident.
I understand, but it's fine.
He's getting punny. Okay, so Batman's back to square one, and he dives in the cement, which is always kind of a cool image. Just Batman diving in that cement. He's trying to get him before he moves, but the guy's quick. And then this was cool. The fact that they're in like an echoey part of the building is still under construction. He says, all these echoes, Batman, it's hard to get a fix on me.
Even if I'm standing right in front of you.
Knocks Batman around again. Poor Batman gets really knocked around this episode. He knocks him around, and he escapes. And we have this great haunting image of Batman's left in the cement with this invisible man taunting him, saying, "See you around, Batman. Shame you can't say the same."
Yeah, and I gotta say, at this point in the story, I'm like, well, hot damn, I'm really enjoying this. They set up
he defeated Batman, darn it. It's like, wow.
This is like kind of like a mini Nightfall.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, the thing we love about Batman is that as much as we always put Batman on a pedestal, and he's the greatest detective, and of course you can outfight anybody. We need to see him take some lumps, and we need to see him kind of learn from the first altercation, so we can take him then the next time.
Sure.
This episode kind of reminds us of that. We love Batman because he's human in many ways.
And as I keep saying, I just think this episode does a really creative job of showcasing the invisibility in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
So,
okay, let's see. So Ventress returns home with the loot. Has the pearl. The pearls. He swears to the photo, and again, this is the big reveal here that he's our father. Bump.
Yeah. Pretty much already figured that out, but thanks for the reveal.
Well, yeah, sure. He swears, and it is kind of cool and creepy. Again, setting up the stakes here. He swears.
No, you're right. I'm glad you mentioned that, because even though it is revealed that you would think that this would be like the Raimi Sandman moment, right? Where it's like, oh, okay, he's just a father trying to do good for his daughter, but no, it's he gets really
intense.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to give you a better life somewhere else.
Yeah, basically saying, your mother's not going to keep you away from me. And honestly, here's my combination of what Ventress, and this is the last, ideally, at least for me, this is the last Sandman reference here, is that it's Kindergarten Cop with Sandman from Spider-Man 3 and the Invisible Man. That's what Ventress is kind of a combo of. You have the father villain from Kindergarten Cop for the most part. It's kind of the ex-con like the Sandman, and that we're kind of rooting for. At the same time, we know it's wrong. Kind of, again, that's a lot of the Kindergarten Cop, and of course, on the whole, Invisible Man. So It's a great combo. It's an out of left field combo, but it works. Gosh darn it.
Yeah, and like I said, I like how the reveal of the daughter isn't treated like, okay, we should root for this guy. Instead, it's more treated like, oh,
He's
this guy
scared of
is.
this guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very subversive kind of take on the, on the father figure who's also a criminal.
Yeah, and he has those red eyes too. He has those eerie.
Oh, I love the red eyes. Yeah,
I love that. I really do like the design of Ventress. He doesn't look like he doesn't look obviously like a villain. He just looks like kind of like an average Joe he's so sinister in how they're playing him.
Mm.
I mean, aside from the red eyes, he just looks relatively normal.
For sure.
Okay, let's see. So following that, I want to say, yes, we have the happy-go-lucky transition. And again, that's what I'm talking about. We're taking the whimsy, and literally in this scene, it boils it down here. It's like the happy-go-lucky, it's daytime, which anytime it's daytime.
La la da 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 fa la la la. Spring, spring, spring. All right, I'm done.
Yeah, this is great. And again, rarely do we see Gotham at daytime unless to set up events with Bruce Wayne. It's the only other time we see Gotham during the daytime. And here, it's very happy-go-lucky. She's being dropped off at school by her mother. Like, oh, ain't that cute? And again, like 1 second later, we have that turn as we go to the wide shot.
This shot is terrifying, man. This shot feels like something out of like a Wes Craven movie or something.
Now, again, taking this stuff right here, this stuff in the big action scene with the car later on, these are stuff that you see directly in Phantasm. This is the kind of stuff that feels so like Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
You see, this is what he's doing to me, folks. He's like making me study like singular frames of Phantasm to see how they work into the overall fabric of Phantasm. This is my education.
He jokes, but seriously, I mean, this mirror shot here.
I'm being completely serious, Dragon. I'm being serious. I know what education you're giving me, and it's. Anyways,
yep. So let's see. Ventress watches, and again, it's like that eerie thing of like, oh boys, we know something bad's happening here, and he's watching her, but it's like the caring father is watching her, though he's caring, but he's so misguided.
Right.
Yeah, anyway, then he follows Helen's car and the mother driving away. Which that to me is also creepy. That hey, the kids at school, I'm going to follow the mother.
Oh yeah, like I said, everything about this guy is just damn nefarious. It's like there's nothing to like about this guy.
And again, that visual storytelling with that word dialogue, that's your Phantasm right there. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I love the realistic detail of Helen. The fact, and I love this, man. I really do. I love the fact that Helen is. She goes on lunch break from her job as a cashier. Again, seeing as at that time this was made, you rarely saw these little details. It's like this fact. She's like, oh, I'm going on break, and she goes like down the street to the very old school. It's almost like a 50s automat. Like we see in Agent Carter.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much like an old, again, the timeless feel in Gotham, like the 30s World Fair vibe. The old school diner down the street. She grabs the stuff, she puts it on the tray, and she pays for it at the end. That's the old school diner for you. Automat, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
Again, it feels like I love those little realistic details you have there. Again, you see she's a working mother. She's a working, as far as she's concerned, single mother.
Mm-hmm.
So Lloyd drops by and he kind of walks and talks with her, and we see Lloyd he's misguided and he's desperate. But again, coming from that understandable place, he's sort of like, what if Ant-Man was a bad guy instead of just the burglar for the working man that we were?
Ooh, that's interesting because it's hard for us to. We love Ant-Man, Dragon. Yeah. We don't want to see Ant-Man as a bad guy.
But seriously, think about it. If Ant-Man, he went to prison for a likable act. He was like, companies were robbing the working man. He kind of avenged. He basically said he was like a Robin Hood in that situation. He went to jail for it. This guy, like, what if this guy actually robbed? According to her, he knocked off. Basically, the idea is he was a bank robber. Maybe like he robbed gas stations. To the point, this is like a bad guy. So what if Ant-Man really did bad stuff and it was like just like a really hardened criminal before he came out? Which again, you're right. It's like holding up that. It's like holding up that mirror of like, oh man, we love him so much, but oh, what if he did something?
Right. Like one false move and he could have turned into someone entirely irredeemable.
Yeah, that's the other level. It's evil Ant-Man.
Oh man!
And he has a suit too. He dons like a special suit, and he gets close to his daughter. He wants to be with his daughter very badly.
Oh god!
He's the one bad day version.
It makes too much sense.
He's the one bad day version of Ant-Man.
Oh man! Oh god!
Anyway, okay. Seriously though, again, Ventress. But seriously, Ventress is an interesting character.
Yeah, he is.
And yeah, again, like he's trying to have a life with his family, but again, fundamentally, he hasn't learned anything from his jail time. Scott learned stuff from his jail time. Lloyd has not, and that's the scary thing. Is like it's like, what if Scott didn't learn anything of like, oh man, this is what I missed out on with my daughter. And it's like, this is what I missed out on with my daughter, and I'm pissed off about it. I want my daughter. I want her now.
Mm.
That's kind of the difference there, and it's again, it's interesting. It's just the kind of that complex places he's coming from, and of course, I'm sorry, take takes or some of this. Go on.
Well, yeah, he's like just being too aggressive about it. He's yelling to look at him. He's trying to pay for the dinner very aggressively, or pay for the lunch very aggressively.
That's the thing. He is trying, and he's basically making his point firm, because initially he's like putting the money on trying to pay, and then she's like throwing something. Where'd that blood money come from? And he's just, and again, like he's just to prove a point, he puts the money down even after she's paid with her own money, which makes no sense whatsoever. It's just he's pissed off.
And then we get a great kind of like, cheesy but ironic line. We have, all I want from you is for you to turn invisible.
Well, she hasn't said, I want you to disappear. She says, okay,
right,
okay.
Right.
Yeah, we'll be acting
just
like
remember the old saying, be careful what you wish for.
We have that creepy push in, too. Like, she doesn't hear that part. Just like,
right,
okay,
right.
okay. And then it's like, but remember the old saying, be careful what you wish for. Oh, man. It's creepy. So.
Okay, Wayne Optic Tech Laboratories.
Oh, yes. And this, I want to say, is the first appearance of Lucius Fox in the animated show.
I definitely think so, from my recollection, for sure.
Now, Lucius has I think the next time we see Lucius, at the very least the important time we see Lucius, is the Clayface episode coming up.
Cool, nice.
Okay, so it's Bruce Wayne. He's kind of doing his Bruce Wayne investigation. Again, I love this sort of stuff. It's really good detective work of Bruce Wayne doing stuff instead of Batman now and again.
Looking into a project about a Cloak of Invisibility from a while ago, back in the company's records.
There was a Dr. Caros, who I want to say died. And I want to say it's because he was working with the plastic, but I can't verify. The point is Caros.
I'm pretty sure that was it. He was working with the plastic, and then the plastic was poisonous at a certain extent. So I'm pretty sure that's how it all fits together.
I'm pretty sure Caros died. I'm just if he died, I'm pretty sure that's the reason. Anyways, yeah. So Bruce remembers. I love the fact that Bruce remembers this. He doesn't doesn't know every single thing about it. He remembers this project was in development. And they just kind of obviously he's distracted.
Put the pieces together.
Yeah. He's exactly. Then in this scene he gets the Sam Goodell, basically the lab assistant who's still running the lab in case that Bruce had any follow-up questions. In which case we see nighttime. And again, I love this sort of stuff. Day we have Bruce, night we have
we have some great transitions here. I'm guessing that's a part of Phantasm Dragon.
Well, we do have
night transitions.
We do have great transitions. Not exactly day and night. We have good transitions since you bring it up, but yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So that's the Batman's visiting Goodell's lab, and again, great lighting, great poses. Batman is so well posed.
Also, I love how Batman is seriously just getting into the nitty gritty, getting his hands dirty in the files, doing serious detective work.
That is seriously one of the poster images for the animators. Like if you need a shot of just doing like what the animators did, the other Batman movies have not done. We get really good detective Batman.
For sure, and it works so well with the vision of Batman that this show is trying to portray.
Like, honestly, if you ever needed one shot of Batman, it would be that file cabinet shot. A lot of people, it's like not only he's using the flashlight, and also like the big Captain Logan loves this, but he loves the flashlight in the teeth. He goes nuts for that.
Well, I really love the flashlight in the teeth too, by the way.
Yeah, I like honestly, my flashlight obsession in Gotham came from this show, so you understand. This scene in many ways. I want to say this. No, we've had Batman with the flashlight before. This is like the main flashlight.
No, but I love the flashlight in the teeth though. It's so practical, and it's something that a realistic Batman would do.
And exactly, and the reason it's so great, the reason it's so classy, and it's so Batman, and works so well. Not just anime shows, period, with Batman, because they're doing stuff. We've seen this sort of stuff in like the 70s and 80s comics with Batman, and we kind of finally got into animation, is the fact that it's so old school detective, and it fits the character of Batman like a glove, but also fits kind of this timeless Batman so well too. Again, it feels very noir detective.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So he finds the light refraction experiment file, and he's going to check it out, see where try to find it. As he's locating it, Goodell pushes shelves on him. Again, poor Batman, he's getting shelves knocked over on him, and then of course Goodell's like saying, he thinks it's like it's kids or people breaking in breaking into the place. He's like, "Hey, okay, who goes there?" And then Batman, this is awesome. Batman, when he's attacked, though, he looks for him. Batman has disappeared. He comes up from behind him. He shoves him against the wall, lifts him by the lapels, and Goodell sees, "Oh my god, I didn't know it was you." He's saying, "Oh yeah, I thought you were, like someone breaking in." And of course, before Batman lets him go, and this is the classic Batman, where he says, he gets the alibi from him so he can make sure this guy isn't a threat. Basically says, "Oh, I was here all night. You can check security." And he goes, "Okay, I don't need to check security." Without saying,
I'd like to see the deleted scene of Kevin Conroy Batman checking with a security officer. "Oh, sure, Batman, I can clarify. He was here all night. You're good to go."
But
citizen.
It's the fact that Batman, he can read people so well, he knows, like, okay, this guy's...
Sure.
So the two of them chat, and I love this, that Batman goes from kind of really intimidating to really inquisitive and friendly. Well, not friendly by Batman's surprise, that's an overstatement. He goes to being really conversational with the guy, and I love that. It's such like a detective thing. He's very, very kind of Humphrey Bogart from Maltese Falcon that way in this episode.
I could see that, yeah.
Well, in this scene, at least, at the very least. So, he's basically get some exposition. Again, it's nicely done, get very kind of casually animated here, where he's basically, Goodell was prepping this stuff, kind of a lot of the stuff in the lab, staying late at night to prepare it for disposal, destroy it, because, making sure it doesn't fall in the wrong hands, etc., etc. Batman asks about the plastic, the invisible plastic, and what's this? It's that's the invisible plastic. He gives a little demonstration. This is the pseudoscience I love so much. I love that it's visually demonstrated for us and the kids at home, where he takes like a little electrical prod, and he basically he explains as he's demonstrating. You run a current through this plastic with a little filament embedded into it, basically kind of stuff in cameras, folks. Stuff kind of. Basically, it's like sonar imprinted into this just plastic material that you can wrap on anything, and it will bend the light around it instead of absorbing it. And the problem, though, is when it does that, it's like kind of it becomes toxic and becomes dangerous. Therefore, so Goodell, because he's not Karras, because he's not the original guy who died, he has no way of fixing it, so it's just going to be set for disposal. Couldn't be fixed. However. Again, Batman being the inquisitive guy that he is, he's asking. He tells him that some. After he learns that some has gone missing, which of course explains the Invisible Man very well, confirms Batman's theory. Batman asks, "Who else knows about this stuff?" And he says, "Well, there's a assistant, more of an errand boy. He was an ex-con."
I love how as soon as he says ex-con, Batman, it's like Batman's criminal senses are tingling. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he just perks up right away.
He's putting together the robberies and everything. Fits like a glove. This is my guy, Lloyd Ventures. Again, really, really cool. Again, great detective scene for just that whole scene. Great, from start to end, great detective scene for Batman. Excellent.
Then we get a quick cut to Batman confronting Mrs. Ventress.
Yep. Asking about her husband.
Oh, God. And this scene is, again, Dragon, it's a very horror movie-esque scene where we have Mojo talking to little Kim Wexler.
Yes, he brings her pearls. He brings little Kimmy Wexler pearls.
He gets pearl points for bringing the pearls.
Yes, he does. Let's see. So he then leads her, and again, this is whimsy turned dark, and it's so great. We do this with the music, and we do it in the scene. The fact that the imaginary friend comes back and leads you're right, in a Peter Pan style, kind of leads her out. Says, let's get out of the house. He essentially kidnaps her, saying, "Hey, let's go on an adventure." Kidnaps her. Helen puts it together as Batman. He finishes up the explanation of stuff we the audience just learned. And then this is great. This wasn't the other thing I was talking about. This is another great line where she realizes, she puts two and two together. Mojo, and then Batman says, "Who?" Again, I love the urgency in the scene. She doesn't have time to explain. Just says, "Mojo, who?" And she runs up, and then we have like the great dramatic, again, the whimsy turned dark and dramatic. All the drama on the score here, like it gets really loud, it gets really and dramatic, and like again, your heart breaks for this woman. Just realizing, oh no, I didn't listen to my kid, now look what happened. It's that dramatic, this is the way I end an act, folks. This is how you end an act here. We're the end of Act 2, right here. The dramatic revealing and the mini movie quality. I guess here is where. The reveal of the doll alone on the floor, the symbol of an open window, the doll abandoned on the floor, that, oh my God, your child has been kidnapped. Batman walks over to the doll, holds it up. Just great end to Act 2.
I love how Batman's face, he just looks so damn determined, like, we're going to get your daughter back. You know, he doesn't have to say anything. You know what I mean? He's just like, oh, this guy's gonna pay. This guy crossed the line.
So you got to remember, we do this from the first shot that's about to happen. So this is important. Little kind of lead in for this. So Batman, of course, it's him stopping a criminal the minute the child is in peril. And I love it. I think this is how they earned their way of doing the child in peril episode, because they just sold them they must have sold them so well on this idea. Just it's Batman stopping the criminal. It's not exactly reinventing the wheel, but now that there's a child in danger now, and the child could be kidnapped and in danger and all that stuff. Now the game's on for Batman. Now he's really determined. If he wasn't already determined, he has to save this kid. And me being the fan of when Batman saves people, let alone a child, I'm pumping my fists in the air for this episode. Point. So Batman, the first shot we get of Batman as Helen's just kind of like lamenting, oh God, what is happening here? We see just how serious Batman is. He has the tranquilizer, dart gun, which a lot of people. Again, I'm with the majority. I don't like it when Batman carries guns or gun-like things. I give this a pass though, because it's a tranquilizer gun. We see very clear it's a trank gun. It's the fact it's kind of gun-like for Batman. They're saying now especially nowadays in the films we have with Batman, got to be more specific about what constitutes.
It didn't bother me.
Yeah, I'm saying in the grand scheme.
Yes.
Little thing. Anyway, so he has a tranquilizer. I'm saying some people are just really think Batman.
It's fine.
And anyway, so let's see. So he's going to have his trank dart guns. He is going to. He asked the really blunt question. When's the last time? When did you put your daughter to bed? 5 minutes ago. Batman exits because again, time is of the essence. He's gonna save this kid. He's got 5 minutes to pick up the trail. So Batman can do it. Darn. Okay. So we're at the abandoned drive-in. Take us through abandoned drive-in.
Yeah. So Kimmy is holding Mojo's hand, which is really creepy because we don't see the hand. Oh God. So we have
the lone car of the drive.
Yeah, the lone car. Oh, God. And, of course, the stranger danger alerts. Like, first of all, props to this kid for, being very smart for her age. She's like, she's pointing out, like, well, it'll look like the car's going by itself. Won't we get in trouble?
I know. She's asking the questions to try to get out of it. She knows something in her bones.
And then Mojo reveals himself. And at first, she just thinks it's freaky because of the head, and then
she has that great eerie line. You're a man?
Right.
Oh man, that is so creepy. Just the whole, you're a man. Just thinking, realizing she slows Mojo, slows an imaginary character.
And so, and then he reveals himself to be her father, and
this is the kindergarten cop moment right here.
Right. Mommy says you're a bad man. And then, of course, this is a moment where he really, it's a point of no return. He's like, you're coming with me whether you want to or not.
Here we go. So then we have this bit right here. Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
It's so much of this moment. On the rewatch, it still holds true. Oh, boy.
Not in this lifetime, pal.
Yes, Batman on top of, the billboard of the drive and the screen of the drive. And also, it's Batman the movies, which is kind of old.
Yeah.
Regardless. It's just not in this lifetime, pal. He makes the cool engines where he glides down, he kicks the guy. Oh boy. He attacks him on the leg. You don't kidnap kids with Batman around, though. Boy, man, that's empowering. Okay. The Batman, again, he's doing the logical thing. Now he's trying to trank him, tells Kim to run.
Trank basically just wears off the invisibility, right?
Well, no, but knock him out, so then he'd be able to find him.
Okay.
Remember, he's in a suit, Tiki, so he's not a power.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Anyways.
Well, the point is, let's see. So, he tries firing the trank up. Lloyd's trying to head to the car, which he is. I want to say he's coated in the invisible plastic. So
he makes the whole car invisible, right?
Exactly. So, Batman, as he knocked him down, then he put the mask on. He's invisible. He tried to get him before he got in the car. Too late. Car turns on, and it's invisible. Gosh darn the luck. We have that little mini interlude of just seeing, okay, Kim made it to her mother. All is good there. Yay.
Oh, happy days.
Yep. Okay, mother and daughter reunite as Batman.
Greg, and I really want to point out something stylistic about this next chase scene with Batman going after the car, right? Yes. There's a lot of jungle drums in the music, right? It's getting very primal. And I like to think that Batman is animated in the most raw form of just a bat kind of rodent fashion, where he's just going after this car in such a vicious way where he's super determined about it. And he's just kind of almost inhuman in his pursuit. What do you think?
I didn't get that read on it, but I kind of like that though. I'm not opposed to that.
All right. I'm especially, you know, like I said, with the jungle drums and everything. But then Batman gets onto the invisible car, and
So
oh god.
I gotta mention, this scene here feels identical to a scene in Phantasm.
Okay. Well,
Where,
okay.
I'm just saying again, it's kind of cool to see again the seeds of it here, which I never kind of had real fun on the rewatch here. It's like, oh boy, again we get to see kind of Batman, you know, dealing with this car. Anyway, so it looks great, and this whole sequence looks great. And again, invisibility. Then invisibility usually looks in animation. Invisibility is hard to express in animation.
It is, and I think this episode does a really good job.
Yeah, Mary, it's like expressing things, you know, around the environment, and instead of like, you know, doing like, you know, the hey, we wipe the character out a little bit and we have like the outline. That's invisible, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't do any of that. We show like, no, logically, if it was invisible, you'd be driving through the place and you get to see the dust all around the car. Everything you go with the extra mile again. Don loves doing car and driving sequences like this.
Yeah, and then my favorite moment in the episode probably happens when Batman jumps on top of the car. Mm-hmm. And the people, he passes by a couple people and it's like, I didn't know he could fly too.
Yep. So let's see. We're swerving. You know, we're taking he takes like a car door off of another guy's car.
Fun, Dragon. Just the animation of Batman on, you know, just floating around an invisible car. This is really fun.
Again, this whole sequence is so well done. I love how well timed it is too. So, you know, swerving, we're taking off the car door. You know, he runs over like 2 gas pumps. You know, a little mini explosion at a gas station. You know, Batman's, and I love this. And this episode, looking back, and I was like, oh boy, I was waiting for this rewatching to it's always kind of filled me. This is what I love about the character Batman. He'll save everyone, even the bad guys. Where he's saying, Ventress, listen, you gotta get the suit off. It's toxic. And then we have let's see. Oh yes, we had a line here. We have a very and this is the other line here. We have a very Shaggy sounding line. Michael Garcia's never voiced Shaggy in animations. Want to make that clear, but for a while I thought I did because this line in this episode sounds the way he delivers it sounds identical to kind of the Shaggy in some of the Scooby-Doo movies that we grew up watching. Not this suit's not causing me any pain. At least not like you're gonna feel.
God.
Just sounds so much like
at least not like you're gonna feel. Man, I can see that.
At least not like you're gonna feel.
Yep.
Anyway, so the car drives through the alley and the paint's coming off. The paint / the invisible prime or whatever. The car's half visible. The sequence is getting better and better, and more intense.
Really cinematic.
They're on train tracks now, and Batman. I love the timing on this, man. He busts through the window with the one arm. And again, this is like all Phantasm, by the way. He's busting through the window like this. Busting through the window. The train's coming, and it's barreling down. And Ventress jumps out of he jumps out of the car, and it's going full. They're both going full speed at each other. Batman using that grappling gun. He grapples to the water tower just in the nick of time. And as he does it, Batman comes crash. He doesn't land perfectly. He lands right into that wooden shed stairwell on the top of the building. So he crashes right into it. I mean, Batman, oh my god, he takes such a beating this episode. He
does. He really does.
That's a determined Batman for you. He's protecting that kid. And he's making sure he nails the.
It's like the Batman version of Taken.
In a way, yeah. Well, in a way, yeah. So. Okay, let's see. So Batman again. I love it. Even while he's so injured, he's still trying to warn Ventress. He's saying, "Hey, look, the suit's toxic, Ventress. Don't."
The suit is kind of almost like symbiote in a way.
Yeah, again, he's having a power trip on it, like the symbiote.
Exactly.
And Batman takes 7 hits, and then he's warning while he's on his back. He's like, "Listen, Ventress, take the suit. It's toxic. I'm warning you." And then he says. And we see just how mad and
oh, I have this all written down.
Okay, go on. Yeah, sure.
So what if the suit's poison? As long as I have it, I can take my daughter back whenever I want. Her mother won't be able to stop me, and neither will you.
And again, a part of you feels bad for this guy. You're seeing how far
but at the same time, a part of him is just on the predatory level of just being very, very over the line. You know what I mean?
I know, it's like that great complex mixture of deep down, this guy has he just wants his family back. And again, kind of like Batman.
I like how this dips into the title too, because the title being "See No Evil," you wouldn't assume a family man who's kind of unfortunately fallen on the wrong side of the law. You wouldn't assume him to be an actual bad guy, but that's exactly what this guy turns out to be, and I love the layer in that.
I mean, look at these two parallels with Batman that he has. Like one, of course, is a guy who can't have his family, but he is in a deluded way trying to reclaim his family. Batman through kind of like honoring his family. This guy through trying to literally capture his family, or at least capture the daughter. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, of course, they're using gadgets to do so. You know, him with the invisible suit, Batman, of course, with all the other gadgets. So kind of like a little bit two kind of parallels going on there. I mean, it's the fact that it's like a little bit of sympathy for this guy who wants this understandable thing. At the same time, we see just how mad and deluded this is taking him. He's gotten that far where he's not like he doesn't care if he's going to get hurt as long as it gets him what he wants. He's having such a power trip. You know, he's throwing, you know, he's hitting Batman with wood. He's trying to hit him with like a piece of board, and then he throws a cinder block at him, and Batman throws 3 shuriken batarangs at the water tower, and the water comes pouring down and reveals Venture's like, no, and then they had this great, excellent line here from Kevin. This is an awesome line from Kevin Conroy, where it's just, peekaboo. Punch! Wow! Just punches him so hard, and then 5 more hits, and then the guy's down.
Hold on, I have the other line if I can do it.
Go on.
Get ready for your biggest disappearing act, Ventress. The one where you disappear for 10 to 20.
Yeah. really good line, really good delivery on Conroy. Again, I love how sparingly we use Batman in this episode.
Mm-hmm. All right, so nice little epilogue, kind of a Peter Pan style epilogue with Batman and Kimmy. Cute.
This is how Batman in your basement. This is the proper way to end Batman in my basement. Like, you need the emotion of this with that one. That's
right.
They literally have the same ending. Only I only say it's more interactive with Batman here. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah, so Kimberly's just talking to Batman like, thank you, Batman. Mommy says that we're going to move far away where Daddy can never find us again. And, Batman's just like, well, that's very good, Kimberly. I'm not sure if you actually hear Batman or not.
He doesn't say anything to you.
Okay, fair enough.
Plus, Helen interrupts the minute she's hearing, oh, no, she's talking to another guy in the room. And she's just going to burst.
No, Mommy, I'm talking to Batman.
Oh, God, that fills me with so much nostalgia. Like, oh, it's so adorable. It's just Batman,
and then, of course, Kim Wexler's like, oh, yeah, of course you're talking to Batman. I have such an imaginative... I have such an imaginative daughter. And
then we have that beautiful image. Oh, it really was. Even as we pan out, we mirror the shot with Ventures, and we have it here with Batman. It's like we see Batman on top of the house in a beautiful. Oh my God!
It's a beautiful pose. Yeah.
Yes, and this is like the regular kind of great pose you have with Batman. We could bring back a lot, where it's just like Batman all in black with the blue highlights, and it's just like he's in silhouette, and he just walks off, and it's just the moon in there. Yes, great episode.
All right, yeah. So final thoughts, Dragon. I definitely, this one, for sure, kind of, washed the bad taste out of my mouth. That was the cat and the claw stuff. I thought this episode was really, really on point. Showcased a very cinematic story, a unique story. It showcased something that I don't usually see done in animation very well, and did it in a really creative way. It also hit on a lot of pathos and a lot of human drama. So I was very impressed with this one.
Oh yeah. This one I really enjoyed on the rewatch. I've always had a fondness for it, but I've always just kind of like, it's like, oh yeah, it's another good one in the line of great Batman episodes. You never really made like a top 10 list or anything on the rewatch. I'm not saying that it puts on top 10, so I'm going to say this though. I enjoyed it even more on the rewatch. It's been just like one of the ones you don't really revisit a lot, and I had a great time with it. I love seeing the seeds of phantasm here and there. It's my own personal enjoyment. But seriously, though, it's a great one-shot. It's Batman saving a child. He's saving a child and he's fighting an invisible man, yet it all works surprisingly well. It's such a good episode. It's so well animated. It holds up tremendously well. That's the main thing I gotta say. This episode holds up tremendously well.
Sure. Dragon, do you mind if I go to the audience to ask them a question?
Go on.
Okay, so the next episode we'll be covering is, of course, the famous Gray Ghost episode. Now, folks, we have a question for you. Would you like us to cover Gray Ghost sooner or later? Would you like us to cover it next week? Or would you like us to cover it as part of a build-up for the sequel to Batman Return of the Caped Crusaders, as part of a big Adam West extravaganza in October? Just leave a comment. If we don't get any comments, I just assume we'll probably just do it sooner rather than later, but I kind of want to throw it out there in case anyone has any suggestions on how we should do that either way. If we want to save the Adam West of it all for an Adam month an Adam West theme kind of build up. So with that in mind, Dragon, build us up to said episode.
Okay, here's kind of my little bulldozer mode here. Okay. A touching tribute done right. The Mad Bomber strikes. Can Bruce inspire his boyhood hero? Will the Gray Ghost save the day? Bring your bat hankies and find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
With Batman, the Animated Series, Episode 18, Beware the Gray Ghost. Starring Adam West, oh yeah. Where did he go? That invisible